See who comes on. Hey, who's in? Didn't give you much chance to figure out that I'm here. Hey, I just started it up. I didn't even give any notice that I was coming on. I'm so busy right now. It's like whenever I get a chance, I go on. Hey, Joe Flyers, how you doing, buddy? You see my free pick I put out? I don't know. I'm not super confident about it, to tell you the honest truth, Joe Flyers, but I think Calgary should win that game. The After that big win against Colorado, I think they're on a high. I think they can. I think Calgary thinks they can beat anybody right now. It's. I think I just let me. You know what? I put so many out on so many different channels. It's a short. I think it's a Calgary game. Calgary money line or in regulation. I think Calgary will. I just think Calgary thinks they can beat anybody now after that Colorado game. I doubt they're going to be overconfident because of Sutter, right? So, and you know, twice they were overconfident going into a game and they got absolutely smoked. So, and I just think the Edmonton Oilers are the people saying, well, it was the coaching change, and I said it when they did it. Like I think that it wasn't a bad move to fire Tippett, but I don't think it was a move that was going to help the team all that much. You know, goaltending's poor, defense is still poor. It's not that's not going to stop, and they're putting a lot of demand on the forwards to come back and play defensively more and all of those sort of things like that. But I don't hear anybody really appreciating just how bad that defense is for the Oilers. It's so bad. The defense is so bad for the Oilers. It's not changing because of a coaching change. And with Tippett, he was just getting frustrated with the players that weren't doing what he was saying for them to do, forwards, and so on and so forth like that. And how to solve the problem of having a bad defense. It's almost impossible to solve that problem as a coach. What do? And then not have a elite goaltender in the, like, you look at the Rangers right now. Yeah, the Rangers are doing well, but are they really a great team? No, they're a great goaltender with a maybe just above average team in front of them. Shesterkin is by far the Vezina Trophy winner this year, no doubt about that. And yeah, I mean they're not good goaltenders, but they're not that bad either. They're not that bad. It's the defense is just deplorable. Like, what do you do as a goaltender when you can't trust anybody to stop a one-on-one, to fight for a puck in a corner, besides maybe Nurse? Like, you're left so many missed assignments. You don't know where to go or how to. You gotta the defense leaves the offense with so many options for a goaltender. It's going to make them look terrible. Look at Fleury in Chicago. A lot of games you just can tell he's an amazing goaltender, but like that game against Tampa Bay, Chicago just stopped playing defense completely, and they don't have a great defense to begin with. He looks terrible. Was that Fleury that was a problem? No. It was just terrible defense. And as a goaltender, you don't know where to set up if you if your defense pair, like Koskinen's losing his mind. You ever notice that? Koskinen is losing his mind with guys being left open that, you know, in Pee Wee, you know, to cover that guy. And it's a terrible situation there in Edmonton. I don't believe they're going to make the playoffs. I've been saying that all year. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. And is goaltending the problem? Yeah, but what are you going to get for a goaltender out there right now? The best goaltender you could get besides Fleury is Varlamov, which we're going to see tonight. And I was kind of on the Islanders until Varlamov went in, and I'm like, no. And that's, I tell you, like Varlamov is better than what they have, but he's not going to be that great. He's not going to be that great in behind the Oilers' defense. In fact, Fleury might not go to Edmonton for that very reason. Why would he go from Chicago to Edmonton? You're just going from one fire to the other with those defensemen. So, yeah, I don't. Although I think goaltending is a problem, I don't think it's anywhere. Like, just look at their defense. It wears on a goaltender too. It just wears on you to watch a team play so poor defensively, and to know that the problem mainly is that the defense, the players that you have playing on your defense are simply not very good. They're just not very good. Like Nurse and Cece's a 5-6 at best. Let me bring you guys up here. See the chat. Yeah, for like Nurse and Cece on your top line. Really? Keith and then a young Bouchard who, oh my gosh, is a game time decision now. They might not even have Bouchard tonight. Some unknown illness. What do you do with that defense? It's like I've said it all year long. I mean, there's not much more to say about that. Hey Lauren, how you doing, bud? There's not much more to say about it. The defense is terrible in Edmonton. I just kept on saying it over and over again. When they said, oh, they got a new coach, things are going to be different. I'm like, okay, I don't know what what the coach is going to do. Yeah, it started out okay. They had a couple winning streaks because you get some good energy. Things are flowing. You feel good about yourself a little bit. And then the defensemen do the same things they were doing before, where, you know, they can't win a puck out of a corner. If they get the puck on the stick, well, Keith and Barry anyways, they can move it, but they don't have anybody to get the puck off the stick of the opposition. And one-on-one, they got to have the worst defense in the league. Like, not even Nurse isn't even that great one-on-one. Oh, you got a bit of a upset stomach. Oh, did he? He had a huge rant about it. Yeah, I mean, for sure, this is not the place for Smith. I don't know if he could do better somewhere else, but you can't have a 39-year-old goaltender with that defense in front of you. There's no way. You just can't. There's not a goal, except for, like I said, maybe Marc-Andre Fleury. But if Marc-Andre Fleury is watching any of the games, he can go anywhere. There's no way I'm going to Edmonton. No way. No way. Same as Toronto. They're talking about going to Toronto. That's a little bit better there. He could definitely make a difference in Toronto. If I had to choose between the two, it would be Toronto for sure, rather than Edmonton. But besides that, there's nobody out there. Georgiev? No. Georgiev can't, I mean, the Rangers have a pretty solid young defense there. And what's I don't know, that could be psychological because he's trying to compete with Shesterkin and he can't. Who can though, really? But he certainly can't. Yeah, Smith is probably just trying to feel good about himself somehow, and he's too. Unlike Koskinen, Smith is too much of a team guy to say our defense is really bad. But Koskinen's not. Koskinen said it himself, like, you know, Koskinen's not afraid to show his displeasure and anger. And I don't blame him. I don't blame him. You go get a good goaltender, see how it works out for you. Like a good goaltender, not a great goaltender, just a good goaltender, like Varlamov. Go get Varlamov at $5 million a year or whatever you got to give up to get him, and see how that works out for you with that defense. Is it going to be better than Smith and Koskinen? Probably, yeah. But is it going to be enough? No. No, maybe a couple more wins. That's about it. Way better than Smith. Better than. Yeah, I should watch it, I guess. I don't know what Peyton's been doing, but I should put that in here. I want to do some streams at night here. Yeah, I mean, Georgiev is really good. I don't know. He does need to be at least not behind Shesterkin. That can wear on anybody's mind. You know for sure you're not going to be a number one there. You know, there's just no way. You imagine being a goaltender who's trying to work his way up in his career, and you're watching Shesterkin do what he does every night. Like, you're just going, it's got to be hard on the confidence. It's got to be difficult on the mind because there's no way Georgiev is going to be able to take that spot from Shesterkin unless he gets injured. I don't know what they're going to do as far as the trade deadline is concerned. I know, like, Georgiev almost certainly wants to find another home, but you can't really trade him at the same time. I don't know who they would get back in return to help that situation. They can't. It can't cost much or have much term. So, and you'd have to have a backup that, you know, that's decent. Georgiev to the Oilers for, like, I've heard Georgiev to the Oilers for Koskinen. You know, that makes sense for the long term, but are you going to win a cup with Georgiev even right now, no matter what? And if Georgiev is having a tough time on the Rangers, just take that young guy. He's fairly young. He's getting older now. Take that young guy and put him behind the Oilers defense and see how that works out for you. Yeah, you can be the number one, but it's the only place that really makes sense, something like that. If they got Koskinen back, they at least would know that they have a guy that can help them get to the playoffs, spell Shesterkin, and probably wouldn't mind so much that he's not going to be a number one there, and he's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. But then they got to go find a backup, which probably isn't too difficult, I guess. Um, that makes some sense, but in the Oilers' perspective, that's for the future, really, because they're not going to the promised land with Georgiev this year. No, they're not. Yeah, he's in a very tough spot. There's no doubt about that. Georgiev is in a very tough spot. Kincaid is in Hartford. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, Kincaid is no, you can't do Kincaid. Kincaid even knows he's not an NHL goaltender now. He can come up for 1-2 games or whatever. Until he's got several holes, and then once teams get used to that, they can just smack him around like crazy. Uh, I don't. Okay, let's take a look. What could the Rangers do in that situation? Maybe Montreal, but then you're behind Price whenever he comes back. Uh, he wants if he needs to go somewhere where he's going to get a chance to be a number one. Possibly Washington, but like Washington is not. It's not bringing you to the promised land either. Like Washington is going to be fighting for Fleury. Apparently, Fleury already turned that down. Toronto, maybe? You want to go in that hotbed of Toronto, and then what are you going to? They're going to send Mrazek back. Like, Los Angeles, Boston. Yeah, they're already on Woodcroft, are they? Fleury would be well, I mean, he'd be a better fit, but again, that they have a poor defense there too. Although Fleury could bail them out. Fleury could bail them out. If you're going to go for it, you for sure got to get Fleury. No doubt about that. San Jose. I think San Jose would be the best spot for Georgiev. San Jose for Reimer. There you go. San Jose for Reimer. I think San Jose would be a great spot for Georgiev. He's got nobody to push him there, hardly. Hill, that's it. San Jose should be looking to move Reimer now. There's no point to him being there anymore. Reimer has had a good year. I think that would be a perfect fit. Georgiev for Reimer. And San Jose, like, it's going to be hard for him there too, but it's a softer environment there. I mean, San Jose is leaving their goaltenders out to dry right now too. There's no heart in that group at all right now, like none. They don't care at all. They have given up the ghost. I believe they know Hurdle's going to get traded. That is such a toxic environment in San Jose right now. However, Georgiev would get his chance to be a number one. Toronto for what? Fleury? Why would Montreal get Fleury? Yeah, that I would say Georgiev for Reimer makes sense. Got a good young goaltender. All the pressure's off in San Jose. Like, even if you lose, it's okay. You're the number one. We're gonna help you become the best goaltender you can be. They have Nabokov there, who has, like, look what he did for Reimer. Didn't do as much for Hill, but he's kind of a goalie whisperer that way. Good goaltending coach. he doesn't have to sit there and know that he's never going to have a number one. He's basically got the number one. He's going to take a lot of losses, and he's going to have to mentally realize that that's the case. But I guess that depends on how much DeBrusk still wants out. I haven't heard about that. Why? I mean, it appears that Boston is pretty hard on young guys, let's face it. Oh, Georgiev in Montreal, Toronto, Edmonton. Okay. Georgiev to Montreal sort of makes sense if they plan on trading Price. Then it makes sense. Otherwise, no. Toronto, he's not taking you to the promised land in Toronto. I don't think so. I mean, they can give it a shot, I guess, but he's probably not much better than you have right now. Like, if he can't handle the pressure of being a backup to Shesterkin, I don't even think it's a pressure. I think it's just kind of, he feels kind of defeated. It might work. I don't know. It depends how high you are in Georgiev. What I've seen of him at his best, he's like a 1B. And Toronto needs a 1AAA. It depends how bad he wants out. Like I was saying about that Boston, you got Sagan wanted out, Hamilton, so they said. You know, they've got very strict rules for their young players there. And some players are like, I don't want to live like that. I don't want to do what you guys are saying. And, you know, if in the end, if DeBrusk, if that is the reason, then DeBrusk is probably going to keep on pushing for a trade. And the people that want to trade for you, you can play. So he's done his part. And if he still wants to be traded, if my inkling is that there is an environment issue there, then they will trade him. Yeah, Toronto's very difficult to play media-wise, but so is New York. New York isn't that great either. It's difficult in New York as well. They confirmed that they don't want to get rid of PK Subban. I just heard that they talked. I just heard the exact opposite. That they don't want to, but they don't want to pay him what he wants to get paid. What did it say here? I just saw that on Pro Hockey Rumors. Latest on PK Subban. While New Jersey Devils aren't exactly true sellers, there's one name that appears to be on the way out. PK Subban has met with Devils manager Tom Fitzgerald over the weekend and was told that the team wouldn't be extending him. If the move makes sense for the New Jersey Devils, I will do what's best for the organization. So yeah, New Jersey looks like for sure. It looks like for sure New Jersey is trading him. They want to trade PK out. It's going to be a tough trade. They're going to have to retain, I would imagine, but somebody will use him. He's not having a terrible year. And he's a righty. Georgiev is a new Cam Talbot. Maybe that's a good way of putting it. Off the wall trade. Oh, okay. So Subban, if Subban's going to get traded, I don't know where he would go, honestly. A team that has a really solid defense and needs offense, I would think, that doesn't want to give up for many for picks, maybe back to Nashville. Oddly enough, I I could see like Tampa Bay doing something like that, but I don't know how they would be able to get away with the cap hit. And I heard they don't want to give up picks, so. I don't think there's like a long line of teams that are going to be clamoring to get Subban at the deadline. Certainly not Toronto, Colorado. Wherever he goes, it's probably going to surprise me. Is it going to be busy at the deadline or slow? I think it's going to be like a little bit over lukewarm, because most of the people are already in it. I don't know, like in the East, there's a lot of people going to be looking for stuff, so I think some players could be overvalued, like Sherratt in Montreal. People that are the teams that are out of it in the East, if they have players they want to trade, they're probably going to be able to get pretty darn good value for them for sure, especially if they go out west. But the problem is like the rebuilding teams like Detroit, Ottawa. Detroit just put the Kaiser on waivers, by the way. Detroit, Ottawa, they've been rebuilding for a while, and they don't really have all that many veterans that they're going to look to move. So Arizona probably still has some players that they'd like to move on from. Pittsburgh for Subban, is that what you're saying? Yeah, maybe. That's the first thing I thought of too. Okay, his contract is pretty high though. If they eat half, I think he's got what, 9 million? Oh, just 1 second. Hello? 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 All right, sorry about that. I thought I got a call for something else. Okay. Yeah, they want to keep Damon Severson. Yeah, he's not going to be extended. Pittsburgh makes some sense, I guess. I really have, like if the Islanders were in it, maybe, but I mean, they usually don't take those type of players. I think he might end up going to Boston. What do they have? Carlo and McAvoy for the right side, and Connor Clifton. If they eat enough of his contract, I could see maybe Boston, because I know they're looking for a defenseman. But he's the kind of guy that's going to be picked up by a team that didn't get what they wanted, I think. Like when some of the other players fall off, they'll call up Jersey and say, what will it take to get Subban? I doubt they want to do. Maybe, I think New Jersey would have to give up a little more. As much as DeBrusk has had troubles there and he's been asking, he has played well as of late. So DeBrusk could be part of the package, for sure. I just don't know if they want to give up an asset like that for a guy who is probably going to be a rental. No way they're trading Brandon Carlo. I don't see you. But Bill, you want to do that? Bill is a Boston fan, and you want to trade Carlo and Clifton for PK Subban? Wow. I can't see them trading a big, strong guy like Carlo in that deal. No way. I personally, I don't know. But I have to admit, I haven't been watching a lot of Boston games this year. So you're a Boston fan. Brandon Carlo's been playing that bad that you're going to take PK Subban, a poor defensive player. Like, he's pretty much a power play specialist now. And his contract is $9 million. What am I looking at that for? $9 million, yeah. So they eat half of the salary and you put DeBrusque. I think they'd have to add something else to that deal. I know they've been having problems with Zacha and what Zacha wants for his contract. He's been out there, but I can't see them doing that. It could be a big, like, you could have a big deal there. $9 million, yeah, crazy is right. $9 million. Oh, there you go. Subban, Zacha for DeBrusque. And a first? I'm just not a Subban guy, so Zacha, I don't know what his problem has been. And you kind of get the feeling that you're almost trading one problem for another there and then giving up a first to boot. That's a tough call. I know New Jersey is whatever he wants to get paid. New Jersey doesn't want to pay it. I think that's the problem there. He's a restricted free agent coming up. And I don't know if they don't want to sign him long term. He hasn't really panned out the way they want him to pan out. So it could be. I mean, if Boston thinks they can get more out of Zacha than they could in New Jersey, I guess they're gonna have to see what his lifestyle is like. But I don't think Boston would have to give up a first with that. I don't think so. Well, I don't think they want Curtis Lazar. The first is for Zacha. DeBrusque, that's the thing, is I think DeBrusque overvalues Subban at the moment, so I don't think they'd have to give up a first. Maybe but something like that does make some sense. Is that a one-game call-up? I'm not sure. I think Smith could be done. They say that he's got some sort of sickness or illness or something. I don't know. It's a weird situation there in Edmonton right now. Oh, if Fleury goes to Colorado, forget about it. It's over. It's all over. I'm almost, if Fleury ended up going to Colorado, I'd be like, nobody's going to beat that team. I don't think so anyways. They would be the Cup favorites by a long shot. For me anyways. I couldn't see anybody beating that team. It's their only weakness right now. If he was willing to go to Colorado and I was Colorado, I would strongly be. Darcy Kemper's been too inconsistent. Is he going to be good down the road? Maybe, but do I want to find out? Like, he's had moments where he was really good, and then he has other times. Like, what was it against Arizona there? He was flopping around all over the place. Colorado asked about Kane, really? Yeah, that's the other one. I'm pretty sure. Remember where we were talking earlier? I said that I think there's going to be some talking to with Kane and Taves both. I mean, Chicago said that they're off the table right now, and that can only be because they're not willing to waive their no trade clause. Because otherwise, you got to do something with them. There's no use doing a rebuild with Taves and Kane there. It just screws everything up. I just can't see them being motivated there to go through a rebuild. Yes. Yes, I think Colorado could beat Tampa Bay with Fleury for the Cup. Yeah, absolutely. That would be the best. That would be even those Pittsburgh teams. You got to remember, I mean, the defense on those Pittsburgh teams, some of those Pittsburgh teams were not. Like, he brought Vegas to a Cup final. He brought pretty much him. That was pretty much him. If he had, Colorado has the best, has he ever had the best defense in the league in front of him? I don't think so. I would say man for man, Colorado's got the best defense in the league. Defensemen in the league. I mean, the way he can stop pucks, if he was in Colorado, I mean, I don't know. It would be a disappointment if they didn't win the Cup. And that's where you want to be. I think that's what any team is trying to build towards. To have a year or two where it's a complete disappointment if you don't win the Cup. And Colorado would be that if they had Marc-Andre Fleury. He did the same with Pittsburgh. Yeah, that one series where, especially the last one, when he beat Washington, I think it was Washington, the Capitals had Pittsburgh had no business winning that series. Washington outplayed them almost every single game. It was all Fleury. Now, is he going to be able to do that? Is he going to be able to hold that up at his age? I'm not 100% sure, but I mean, he's got a better chance than anybody else out there. Is there a better chance of them winning the Cup with him rather than Kemper? I would say yes. Kemper really hasn't had any playoff experience. We're going to see Francouz tonight again. And Francouz is one of those goaltenders, when he's hot, he's amazing. When he's not, he's not. You know, it's like one of the two there. But I think if Colorado had it, Tampa Bay's got the experience. That's the thing, right? They've won the Cups and stuff. So, but with Fleury, you gain that experience. It's not just what he can stop pucks, but it's also the leadership in the room. He brings Cup. He brings a winning attitude. He brings everything that may be missing out of Colorado. Now, the deal would have to be like, you would have to deal Kemper back to Chicago in that deal. And if I'm Chicago, I'm up for that. I mean, Kemper has shown to be a very good goaltender in the past. They're rebuilding anyways. I would really feel sorry for Kemper if they did that, because he spent all that time in Arizona, and now he's got to go to another rebuilding team. And maybe he doesn't re-sign, because I think he's only on a 2-year deal. But Kemper plus, I don't think they're going to get as much back as people think, because Fleury's going to identify where he wants to go, and then Chicago's not going to have all that much leverage. But it would be just sick if Colorado got Fleury. But they got a lot of guys that you might be able to take back that haven't really hit their stride, in like JT Compher or Tyson Jost or something like that. You can get a young guy that still has upside. And Darcy Kemper, what does he have? Darcy Kemper's 31. Oh, he's going to be a free agent this year. So I don't know. Maybe he'd be happy to sign in Chicago because they could give him a longer term contract. He wouldn't have to, go on the open market, test the open market again. But on the other hand, he may be like, I don't want to be on a rebuilding team. I'll go on the market and see what I can find. And then maybe if he goes out on the market and there's not a contending team that's looking for a goaltender like him, he goes, okay, I'll stick in Chicago. I don't know. But because it actually might be better for Chicago then, because he's a rental on a team that's not looking for a cup. Actually, there could be a three-way trade here. They could trade Fleury to Colorado. That wouldn't be a bad idea. They could trade Fleury to Colorado and get Kemper and something else back. And does he have a no trade clause? No, he doesn't have a no trade clause. So they could do a three-way trade. They could trade him to Colorado and then maybe trade him to Edmonton because the Edmonton Oilers were in on Kemper, but they wouldn't give up their first. But they were in on Kemper when Colorado got him. So you could get maybe Kemper and another player or something. I would try to get like Jost or something like that just because he's got a lot of heart, and Chicago could use guys with heart there in their lineup, that's for sure, after all the mess that's been going on there. And then you could trade Kemper to, say, the Oilers. And the Oilers aren't going to give you their first, but maybe you could get like Benson in a second or something like that. I don't even know if they have I don't think they have a second to give. All right, you need a goaltender back, so you could get Koskinen, which isn't going to help you much, but the whole point is you're taking players back to get picks and prospects. So you take Koskinen back. And yeah, I don't think they got, see that. Yeah, well, they do have their second, but it's wrapped up in Keith. That's right. I don't know. Next year or something like that. Or a borderline prospect. Like they'll probably try to give you Samorukov, and I don't know how good he's going to be. He has virtually no offense in his lineup, or no offense. No, I mean, Joe Sakic's always going to hold tightly to his prospects. So Joe Sakic wants to build a dynasty there, but I think he would do something like what I just said there. Jost or Kaut, maybe Kaut. But I think it's Kaut or Cott. I can't remember. But he is not progressing like I thought he would. He was a late first for them. And he's not progressing the way I think they thought he would either. He's not putting the offense down in the minors like I thought he would. 10 goals, 6 assists, 16 points. Not too bad. But he's 22 already. So he looks like he's going to be a bottom pair guy, or like a bottom six guy. And I'm not sure what his defensive acumen is or anything like that. Sam is and Vinny is the AHL shutdown line. Sam is. Sam who? Vinny. Help me out, man. Who's Sam and Vinny? Who's Sam and Vinny? I don't. For Colorado, you're talking about still? Yeah. Are you still talking about Colorado race fan rocks? Oh, Samorukov. Yeah, he's on the AHL shutdown line, but I mean, well, I'd have to see him come up and see how he is or whatever. I know there's been a lot of talk about him, but he puts no offense at all. Like he's virtually no offense. He's going to be a defensive defenseman, and is he going to be good as like a Braun or something like that? Like where is he going to be? Okay. So you're talking about Edmonton. Samorukov and Vinny who? Who's Vinny? Oh, Vincent Desjardins. Is that who you're talking about? Okay. I don't know anything about Vincent Desjardins. 6'6", big boy. 7th. 22 points in 44 games. That's not bad for a shutdown guy. He is up there though, isn't he? But he's 25 already. So he was in the ECHL last year, so he's having like a career year. Vinny Desjardins. Yeah, he might get a shot. But I know there's been a lot of talk about Samorukov in his defensive game. He seems to be probably another 2 years away from being a regular. Like he's like one of those guys that's like Forbert in Boston or something like that. I was looking at the rumor thing. What did I say? Yeah, like everybody's talking about the goaltending for Edmonton. I don't know if the goaltending is going to be like whatever they can get is going to be much better than Skinner. Penguins are apparently looking at Robert Hagg out of Buffalo. That makes sense. That seems like something that they would do. Robert Hagg, a 5'6" guy, some depth. I mean, I don't think they have much room to move. I don't know. Is that? I know they don't want to give up prospects, so I think Pittsburgh might just have to roll with the team they already have, besides like a guy like Robert Hagg. Because Hagg shouldn't cost you all that much. And you can't have Mark Friedman playing there, that's for sure. Which they do right now. And in the minors, they got like, oh, Ricola is not going to play. He didn't make it. Ricola didn't make it. Simple as that. So Hag makes some sense. He could fill in that spot with Chad Ruhwedel. But, oh yeah, Michael Matheson. I guess that's probably why too. Week to week, he's got a bad upper body injury. So that might be another reason why they're going for Hag. Because you don't want to be playing Friedman too much, that's for sure. That would be the Oilers trading Barrie would be very interesting to me because I would be interested to know who would take him. I've looked at that trade and I just don't see anything out there that, like, I don't know. He's the most questionable value player out there. There could be a general manager that sees his point a game last year and says, we need an offensive defenseman. But those, I mean, last year I was saying that his offense wasn't sustainable because they were playing. He was getting a lot of second assists, and it wasn't sustainable this year. But he is so awful defensively. Like, he's not a guy that teams are generally looking to grab at the to get for the playoffs. Quite opposite, actually. They'll take poor a defenseman that isn't great defensively that at least can wear down the opposition, like Sherratt or whatever. Oh, yeah, maybe. I don't even want to talk about that because you're probably right, and that just pisses me off. The Flyers might do that. The Flyers might do that. And that just, like, it pisses me off just to think about it. The Flyers went and got Yandel. So who knows what the Flyers might do. Yandel was like, they were trying to get rid of him any way they could. And I know they only paid him $900,000, but basically getting Barrie is like getting Yandel, but paying more money for him. So I don't know. I would be floored if they could get anything back for Barrie, but on this other side of things, on the looking at it from the other side, I could for some reason see a general manager giving something for him. He's a right defenseman, but I mean, if I'm in a playoff spot or if I'm going to be looking to make a push in the playoffs, I'm not touching Barrie. No way. No way. Barrie, the guy that basically Patrick Waugh quit his position for because Sakic was taking so long to trade him. And he basically said, I'm not, I think Patrick Waugh actually said to Sakic, if Barrie is still here at next training camp, then I'm not coming back. And, you know, you're not going to push Joe Sakic. Joe Sakic's going to find a deal that makes sense. No, it's not an upgrade. It's not an upgrade at all, no. No, it might even be a bit of a downgrade, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, like Patrick Waugh, I think he pretty much said if Barrie's still here. And then Joe Sakic went and robbed Toronto. Kerfoot and what did they give up? For Kadri? That trade was insane. They gave up Kerfoot. I couldn't believe it when they made that trade. It was they gave up Kerfoot and Barrie for Kadri and something else. Let me look it up. It was stupid. Let me look it up here. Hey, look at this. The Barrie trade gives Maple Leafs boost from the back end. What was it? Kadri traded to Avalanche by Leafs for Barrie. That's it? Was it straight? It wasn't straight across because they got Kerfoot too. Maple Leafs got Kerfoot and Barrie. Just absolutely robbed him. And, Sakic, how many times has he done that? He's just been very patient. He did it with the Duchesne trade. And, Patrick Waugh basically, I think, said, I don't know this is factual information, but it seems to me, because I know he was calling for Barrie to be traded the whole time. He didn't want Barrie as a defenseman. And I think he said, if Barrie is still here when I come back, I'm going to quit. And he did. And I don't blame him. When you watch Barrie, he's so bad. So bad. Just eye test alone, he's so bad. But is there a general manager out there that doesn't see that? I mean, Holland didn't see it. So could there be one out there that doesn't see it? I suppose. But don't ask me who that's going to be. I have no idea. I couldn't. I know who it won't be. It won't be Joe Sakic. It won't be Steve Yzerman. Although Steve Yzerman grabbed Leddy for some reason. I still don't know what that was all about. I think that was to have like a coach for their power play. I think that's what that was for. Although we paid a lot for it. No smart general manager is going to take him, I would think. Kekalainen certainly wouldn't take him in Columbus. But Arizona, maybe if you gave up a pick with them. I just don't know if there's, like, I can't see the value in Barrie, so I can't tell you which general manager would see the value in Barrie. Can you tell me? Yes, Connor Murphy would be a great addition to Toronto. We've been talking about that for a while, yeah. I would say Connor Murphy would be a fantastic addition. Connor Murphy, McCabe, any one of those guys. If they're going to trade all those guys out, I hope the Edmonton Oilers are up there in the list to do that. Connor Murphy, those are the guys that Edmonton needs, and I don't know how they get them. Maybe they can make a trade with Chicago for Barrie. They took Jones. Like, maybe they can do it, work out a deal where basically just the Barrie part is just the money aspect of it, and then they'd have to throw in a really good prospect or something like that. But I'd be happy with any of those guys. Connor Murphy, DeHaan. It's amazing when you talk about the defensemen that they have that Chicago plays so poorly defensively. They have some really good defensemen there, but they play so poorly defensively. All right, let's bring up the games tonight. Los Angeles, Boston. Los Angeles, Boston. I think Los Angeles might win that game tonight. Would Los Angeles take Barrie? Would Boston take Barrie? Would Boston take Barrie? But I think they should go for Murphy too. And I haven't heard any talk about Toronto going for Murphy or anybody like that. But that's exactly who I agree with you. I would totally go for Murphy. Maybe they're just being real quiet about it, but that would help a lot. I don't know what Chicago would be asking for a guy like Murphy. What's his... If they're looking to lose, they should trade those guys away, though. Connor Murphy. Oh, he's got a lot of years left on that contract. That might be the sticking point. He's making $4.4 million. Same as McCabe. Kelvin DeHaan is a UFA next year. That would even be good. Kelvin DeHaan even. But all of those are going to cost you a first-round pick. So as long as they don't mind giving up a first-round pick, but DeHaan would be way better than what they have right now. They could give Dermott in the first. That would certainly solidify their defense a lot. Especially when Muzzin comes back, then you'd have Riley, Morgan. You could play DeHaan on the right side, Brody, Muzzin. Where's Sandin right now? They're scratching because of some sort of illness. Sandin and Lyabushkin or something like that. It's not bad D. And then they just got to find a goaltender. Well, first in Liljegren, I'd be all over that. If I was Chicago, for DeHaan or for... The problem with that is for Connor Murphy is he's making $4 million a year for a while. But on the other hand, they're going to have to find a defenseman that makes that much anyways. First in Liljegren, I would, if you're Chicago, and it's not that Connor Murphy's a bad defenseman, but you're rebuilding, I would say you've got to do that deal. And Toronto, I mean, he signed up for 4 more years. He can be in your top 4. Yeah, for sure. I would look at that. Why not? But now, how are you gonna get a goaltender? It's a good contract to me too. That's a very good contract for me too. Connor Murphy's got to be one of the most undervalued defensemen in the league. It's a good contract for me too. I wonder if they could push that first and Liljegren out of it. That would be killer for them if they could. If Chicago could get Liljegren 2 on top of it, that's a pretty good deal, Eugene. I would say. Chicago could push that out of them because they absolutely need him, and I'm sure that if Connor Murphy is on does he have a no trade clause? Did he take less money for a no trade clause? He doesn't even have a no trade. How come it shows here that he's a UFA? Is he a UFA? But it shows here that they forgot to put the contract up there. Huh. 4.4. Yeah, that is a good contract. I agree. I'm with you on that. Nylander for Gibson. Wow. Oh. Wow. Nylander for Gibson. Man, that is a freaking tough trade. You hate to give up a guy like Nylander for a goaltender. I mean, a young winger like that. It's not, but Gibson is like a special goaltender. Although he's not having the greatest year this year. Oh, man. You're pushing all the chips in there. Oh, wow. You've been thinking about this for a while. That certainly would solve their goaltending problems, I think. I don't know what's going on. Gibson's not having a great year this year. Would he be? But, I mean, he has been absolutely lights out. I personally think he's just exasperated there. How much is Gibson making? How much is, wow. That is, I might have to do a, I don't know if you'd have to go that high. Maybe you would. Like, Anaheim holds all the cards with Gibson, I think. Oh, he's got 6'4" for a long time. Okay. What do you do with Campbell? Let him walk, I guess, right? I don't think they got the cap space for all of that. But what do you do with Campbell now? You got to find a route home for Campbell. Maybe Campbell. I don't want Campbell if I'm Anaheim. And they've got that Dostal guy coming up. You got to find a home for Campbell. Is this? I think isn't Campbell signed up for like wait? No, he's a UFA at the end of the year. That would suck for Campbell. Just let him walk, or he's. Am I right there? He's only making 1.6. Trade Campbell somewhere. If this is the case, like if we're talking the way we're talking, somebody asked if there's going to be a lot of trades. If you were to do something like this, there would be a lot of trades. It's a lot of movement before the deadline. No. Shut your mouth, Campbell to Edmonton. Campbell just doesn't have what it takes, man. It's crazy, but it's not crazy at the same time. It feels very armchair GM-ish, but I totally get it. You're getting Gibson, one of the top 7 goaltenders in the league, who's just frustrated being in Anaheim. Nylander's tough to give up, but I don't see them getting, I don't see Anaheim just throwing Gibson away. Like they hold all the cards in that deal. Whatever deal they do for Gibson, they can ask for the moon. I don't think like Kerfoot in a first gets it done. I doubt it. I wouldn't trade Gibson for just a late first round pick. I'd want something like that if you were going to take Gibson. I think that's what they're holding out for. And nothing has come so far, but Toronto might have got to the point where they're desperate enough to do like a Nylander deal like that. Gibson's making $6 for a long time, which is a good contract for a goaltender with his skill level. If you look at like Bobrovsky and Price and some of the signings that you've seen out there. It makes sense. And Murphy certainly would be excellent there. That would solidify their defense. I'm not sure you're still a cup contender, but I mean, they're more in the realm of being a cup contender there. Yeah. Wow, that's easier said than done. I don't know who you would have to trade Mrazek probably to a team with a cap and add a pick to it or something like that. Maybe. So I don't think anybody is going to put faith in Mrazek now at the price point he's at. Is he on 2 years too? Oh, he's signed up till 2024 at 3.8. Oh my gosh. I don't think you're getting rid of that contract, dude. That is yeah. There lies the problem. That Mrazek move was brutal. It was brutal right from the get-go. And now look at them. Now they're stuck. Like, I guess they thought they could do it with Campbell, so why not do it with Gibson instead, right? I would just trade. You might be able to find a home for Campbell somewhere at 1.6 for this year. Probably, like maybe Edmonton. God, I hope not. But no, I don't think so. I wouldn't. I wouldn't take Mrazek back in the deal. No way. There's just no value in 3.8. The hard part about Anaheim is I think the move of trading Gibson makes all the sense in the world if you just look at it from a hockey perspective. But if you look at it from their market perspective, I don't know. But that being said, I've been saying it seems to me Gibson is forcing their hand to trade him. I just don't think he's happy there. He wasn't happy there last year, and he's no more happy this year. Unless they're going to come out and say we're going to sign free agents and go for it next year, which I don't think is a wise move. But they may. They're their market makes it tough on them. To trade Gibson is basically to say we're not going to be winning for a while. Because Mrazek ain't going to do it. And they're going to pay Mrazek 3.8 for the next is 2022, 23, 24. And go with Dostal, I guess. Bring Dostal up and hope he can rock it in this short time. Man, Dostal is their guy of their future. The question is Mrazek the guy you want to be helping that kid move up with his inconsistency and everything that he's had in his career? I think Campbell might be more of a help. But I understand the deal makes sense in a lot of ways. If Anaheim could just say, all right, we're not good enough, we're just going to keep on losing and do what Detroit is doing and do it right, then fine. I just have a feeling that the Anaheim Ducks don't feel like they have that kind of time. Yeah, I know. That's the thing. But making that deal basically tells all the sponsors and everything that they have around there that they're not winning anytime soon. Simple as that. They're not. I don't. We'll find out what they. I guess the big thing is what are they going to do with Lindholm and Manson? If they happen to sign them, then I guess they're going all in. I would hope so. And they keep Gibson as long as he's not like pounding at the door to get out, which is possible. If he's banging at the door to get out, I could see this. I could see a deal like that happening. Oh, if they lose Lindholm, forget about it. Yeah, for sure. They're nowhere near ready. I agree, but I don't know who else would be in on Gibson. Edmonton should be calling, but apparently they won't give up their first for anything. I would love it if they got Gibson. Just Gibson's got to have a no trade clause, doesn't he? That could be muddling it up a little bit. Yeah, he's got a no movement clause. What is it? Ten-team no trade list. And he's American, isn't he? Yeah, he's from Pittsburgh. That would be why I heard the Gibson to Pittsburgh stuff, but I don't know how that deal could possibly work. Maybe New Jersey, too. He's from Pittsburgh. I bet you New Jersey, after Blackwood hasn't panned out, he's been injured a lot. They could probably get a pretty good haul from New Jersey. Yeah, they're not serious about winning until they get a GM that can do the things to win. Um, yeah, they're going to keep, like, Edmonton seems like they're just going to keep their first round picks and wait for cap space, throw a little bit more in there, see if they're good enough. But I mean, the Duncan Keith move was just. But I could see New Jersey being on the phone there. And they could trade Blackwood in that deal, and then Anaheim can hope that Blackwood can turn it around. And they've been looking to move Zaka. But if Toronto came out and said Nylander, I would do that deal. If you're for sure going to trade Gibson, I would do that deal. I would for sure. If I was going to be losing them anyways, and they were going to offer Nylander, I would for sure do that deal and just find a goaltender. It's tough though, because getting a goaltender like Gibson is like so hard to find. If Dostal is eventually that guy, and possibly is, he's been doing very well, then I guess you find a good enough goaltender until then. No, they're not going to pay. They can't afford to do that. We'll see what Kane does for the rest of the year, but yeah, I can't see them signing Evander Kane back. I agree with you. I don't see that happening. Well, Mark, are you still there, Mark Brown? Sorry, I forgot about that. Asked about the deadline. Like this is a one where I'm really on the fence about whether there's going to be a lot of movement or not. I think there would have to be. Like Montreal's got to move some people out. I would think, like Petrie, Sherratt, guys like that. There's going to be some movement there. Detroit really doesn't have all that much they can give up now. They're sort of in that place where, okay, good. Detroit doesn't have that much they can give up. I think Detroit's going to be fairly quiet at the deadline. I just don't see too many players that they're going to move right now. In fact, I could see Detroit starting to build through free agency in the offseason. Start adding to their defense and whatever. I don't like. They know where their young players are at to start filling holes a bit. Ottawa just re-signed. Like, what do they really have? That's the thing is the bottom dwellers. Chicago will be moving. Chicago and Montreal will be the big movers, I think. And Buffalo will like guys like Hag, which are going to give them mid-round picks. Victor Olofsson, I've heard there's been some talk about him. He's going to be a restricted free agent. And I don't know if they feel they got a place for them when, Jack Quinn. Oh, Jack Quinn is healthy now and in the minors? Oh, I didn't even know that. Did he play any games there? Jack Quinn has 38 points in 26 games in the AHL. So that Olofsson is kind of taking up a spot for him. So I could see Victor Olofsson being out there at $3 million. Robert Hag and, just like little trades like Butcher and stuff like that to get mid-round picks. But besides that, who do they trade away? They're not trading Middlestat, I don't think. Kyle Okposo, if they want to retain, is he? No, he's still signed till 2023. I don't think anybody's going to take him. Cody Eakin, maybe, guys like that. But yeah, Detroit picked up Ulevi. Yeah, I mean, it's worth a shot. He's had so many injury problems. He could be one of those guys that make it late. Could be. The Gorton connection, yeah, like Sherratt, stuff like that. Who else would they be from Montreal? Like, I don't see too much there that they would want. Petrie? Not Adams, but Drury seems like a guy that would take a guy like Sherratt. I mean, he traded Buchnevich for Blais in a second. And then he signed Gaudreau, who I didn't mind that contract. I know that Peyton on the radio does because Gaudreau's not fantastic analytically, but he brings an element that it did analytics. In the playoffs, analytics don't play as much. The playoffs are more about grinding the opposition down. So guys like Sherratt do have value in the playoffs. Guys like Sherratt, to me, don't have much value in the regular season. They're guys that have value in the playoffs. But, it seems that Drury, who was a player, knows that. And I could see Philadelphia being in on a guy like Sherratt. But who else? Like, that's probably why Georgiev has been rumored to go to Montreal too. I just don't see what they're going to get Allen back, maybe. I suppose, but then Georgiev is just back in the same spot he was before. If Price comes back. maybe part of the problem in New York Rangers is that Shesterkin is not a very good guy to. Shesterkin is not a very good guy to help out young guys. You know what I mean? Maybe that's part of the problem. So, maybe he wouldn't do as bad in Montreal, where Price seems to work well with anybody, really. Assuming he can come back and play. Dvorak, Sherrod. Dvorak makes sense, I guess. For who, though? That would be probably, Dvorak would probably be for Hedl. Sherrod, I don't think they want to give up their first. I think Sherrod's going to get a first from someone. Maybe they will. I don't know. Evans, I wouldn't want. Anderson's too expensive. I don't know why they would do that. I don't know what that deal would look like for Anderson. Anderson, to me, is kind of a bad contract, really. See, New York Rangers. Oh, maybe Strome. But, I mean, you still got to pay Anderson after that. I wouldn't want that contract back. Nah. Maybe Sherrod, and that's assuming you don't want to play Braden Schneider in the playoffs. Or is Sherrod a lefty? Sherrod's a right D, right? And that would be assuming you don't want to play Braden. I believe he's a right D. Yeah, he's a right D. First is in play. I personally wouldn't give a first to Sherrod when you got Schneider there. But, I mean, if you don't want to play Schneider in the playoffs, I get it too, so maybe. But that's a lot to give up for Sherrod. Lundqvist, Gorgiev. Like, okay, so the talk of Miller with what you just said there, like I keep on hearing people saying, like when I put the Miller trade on the Rangers board, they're like, they're not trading Schneider. We already talked about that. I mean, I don't see a package there to get Miller. It's going to cost a first plus to get Sherrod. I'm pretty sure of it. And I don't think it should, but there's so much there's so many, like a guy like Drury might see the value of it. I guess it's going to be completely depending on whether they think that makes them kind of a contender. Kravtsov, there's that whole thing going on in Russia. They don't even know if they can bring him over. Hedl for Dvorak makes some sense. Because Hedl just hasn't panned out so far. Hedl just hasn't panned out. And that I don't know if they would take Dvorak for that or not. But out of the guys like you put there, is Hayek ever going to be, like Arizona might do something for Hayek? Give him a shot. Give him a long time to still progress. You think Dvorak is the way the Rangers go? I would actually say the guy I heard too, but maybe he's off now because he's doing so good in Montreal. Was Lehkonen, Artturi Lehkonen. That's the guy I heard. That's the guy I heard they were interested in was Lehkonen. And Lehkonen you could probably get for a Hedel, or I don't know. What are they gonna? What's Gordon? Is Gordon was the one that made the trade for Hayek, right? So maybe he still thinks Hayek has upside, or Kravtsov. Kravtsov, how much value does he have? Like Montreal could trade for a guy like Kravtsov, knowing that eventually he'll come over. But what would you do for Kravtsov? Like, I really like Lehkonen. I think he's undervalued. Yeah, I don't know why Montreal would trade Poehling now. He's been playing well for them. He's young. I don't know why they would trade Poehling now. Dvorak is the way they go. He can't be a second line center. Yeah, I know. I wonder how much value that he still sees in Hayek. That I'm not sure of. I'm not sure of how much value he still sees in Hayek, but it looks like he might have made a mistake there. He's how old is he now? 23, isn't he? New York Rangers have so much cap space too. It's crazy. Libor Hayek, 24, 6'2", 203. Like, he has no offensive upside at all. I wonder if he thought maybe he might, but I don't know why he would ever think that, because he didn't put much offense up in. They obviously must think he was supposed to become a shutdown defensive defenseman, but it didn't work out. Next year you have barely any cap space. Well, yeah, you got to get another centerman. Sign Blade. $9 million so far. Oh yeah, I guess not. Projected cap space $9 million, and you got to find a second line center. And then the year after that, things get really rough. You got Lafreniere. Well, not really rough, but Andre Miller. Oh, that's 2 more years. Yeah, you got $9 million and you got to find a center. So it will be kind of rough. It's getting that second line center. That's the thing. I don't know what they're going to do for second line center. Like I talked about Hurdle, but that would be all the cap space they got. Is there anybody that they're going to trade away? Not really. Yeah, I imagine that will you get a second line center next year, and that's pretty much you're gonna have to roll with the team you got. You got your team now. Yeah, well, I was talking about that. I think he's got a full NMC, and that's why I don't think they would trade Schneider because Trouba does have to go. But yeah, he's got a full no movement clause. I don't know. Where's all those Minnesota guys? You ever see them in the chats anywhere? You never see them in the chat anywhere. They used to come here all the time talking to me and saying that I don't know what I'm talking about Minnesota. I undervalue them and all that kind of stuff like that. They don't have very good defense or goaltending. And ever since Dumba has been out, they haven't been good. But I mean, really, when it comes right down to it, they weren't going to go very far with that goaltending. That's what I was saying. That's what I mean, I love their offensive game. But much like where Edmonton is, when you have poor defense, your forwards have to make up for it. And they are dangerous when they're in the offensive zone. I hope not, because I don't think Dylan Strome is a very good center. Ryan's better than Dylan. You need somebody better than both of those guys. I think in the league today, to be a contender, although like Tampa, what do they have? Point and Stamkos, right? Well, Stamkos plays the wing most of the time. Yeah, Stamkos. Yeah, Stamkos is still rocking 62 points in 54 games. Braden Point, like Trocheck and Aho. Florida, you got Reimer. If they play him in the middle, Barkov and what's his name? They're stacked up the middle. Lundell eventually. You got Lundell eventually. Sorelli, there's another one. I mean, if you're going to compete with the big boys, you need somebody better than Dylan Strome or Ryan Strome, for that matter, as your second line center, I would say. I think they're going to have to put their cap space into the second line center and then roll with what they got. You got to hope you're good enough. Careful who you pick. If it's Hurdle, then that's probably good enough, and then that's the Rangers right there. That'll be the Rangers. You know, Schneider's going to have another year. Miller will be a year older. Defense is starting to look stacked. It's probably, pretty close to a contender. Yeah, I don't. The thing with Winnipeg is if they've got a guy that wants to stay in Winnipeg, I think that only happens if Shifley wants to leave. Because if they got a guy that wants to stay there, they're probably going to stay there. Winnipeg has a terrible time finding people that want to go to Winnipeg. So it would have to be a hell of an offer for sure, like a really solid offer. If I'm in Winnipeg, you're giving up Schneider or forget about it, or like a package of like I don't even know what you guys got to give up there. It's weird because some players have so much more value depending on where they are. And Shifley's value in Winnipeg is huge because it's so hard to get people to play there and want to be there and stay there and sign long contracts there, especially on contracts like Shifley has. Like 6 million is so undervalued for him to stay in Winnipeg. I just can't see them moving that. I don't know how they're ever going to get a defense, but if they ever could, they could be okay. But I think I'm going to head out now. Thanks for coming on, guys. I might be on a stream. I should be on a stream Wednesday. Okay, wait, I forgot about that. I didn't answer. Somebody said Wednesday. I guess I'm doing a stream Wednesday. Washington and Edmonton. So Wednesday evening I'll be on. I'm not sure about tomorrow. I'm doing a bunch of stuff right now. So I don't know, like I just kind of come on when I can. Thanks for coming on, everybody. That was awesome. I enjoyed it a lot. Have a great day. Okay, bye.